and welcome back to Global Speedrun Association. We've got some more SMO action coming your way, some more any percent tournament coming your way, this time between allnewluke and SomeBroYouDontKnow. And I think at this point it's safe to say that we might actually know this SomeBro. What do you think, Troy?
He is relatively well known at this point.
I would hope so. I mean, he is a prominent 3D Mario runner of all regards. I suppose he does play a lot of Super Mario 64 as well. Kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to speedrunning. So this should be an interesting race. My name is Dangers, and yes, joining me on commentary is Troy of Athens. Or Troy of Fothens, as it does say on the stream there, I think. You've changed your name recently.
Yes, I am Troy off Athens now.
Troy off Athens. I like it. We do not like to be on Athens, I suppose, in this community.
Yeah, we're in America.
Exactly. It just wouldn't make any sense. So that being said, this is a loser's bracket round 2. The stakes are high in a race like this. A loss will result in an elimination here. SomeBroYouDontKnow, I think, coming out with the better PB overall, but allnewluke did recently switch to 1.0 and has been making some leaps and bounds in this game. So it really is anybody's race. Do you have any predictions?
No. Okay.
No, indeed. All right.
No, both these runners are very good. I think actually, I mean, I don't want to present a bias, but I feel like allnewluke might be able to pull it out. Both these players are both very good. It just seems that you know, they're talking about PBs in chat, and they're just talking in general about a lot of practice with going on here, and allnewluke just seems pretty confident going into this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And you know, when it comes to speedrunning, you really have to dive in. You really have to put a lot of focus on the game that you're running if you want to play it at such an optimal level, like Chaos, of course, being a good example of that. Able to put a lot of time per day into running this game, and you know, he has the results to show for it. So in the case of SomeBro, you know, he does kind of, like we mentioned, run a lot of 3D Mario games, is a jack of all trades, has his focus a little bit split, and I think allnewluke is a little bit more specialized. So that might be the deciding factor in a race like this.
Okay, it looks like we're about to go underway. We are starting the game, starting the race.
Now, I don't really have any bets on this one, but if I did, I would be placing them at vi.gg, where you can place your bets on any of your favorite runners throughout any of these GSA tournaments happening in December. Type !bet in the chat or click the banner underneath the stream in order to participate in that. Of course, you must be of legal gambling age, and in a country where gambling is legal to participate, do not get yourselves in any kinds of trouble. Do not lie about these things. The government will find out. They're after you. All jokes aside, though, rolling through Cap Kingdom here, these guys are both playing on 1.0, so we will be seeing the FMS trick coming out of Cascade Kingdom. Looks like SomeBro does have a little bit of an advantage here coming out of Cap. Just a little bit cleaner movement at the start here, taking an early lead.
Yeah, just a minor thing of SomeBro able to hit the lever with the Cappy a bit earlier than allnewluke. So, little minor things can cause differences, especially in the first kingdom here, where there aren't too many spots to actually cause divides.
True, yeah. In a kingdom that's only 2.5 minutes long, every glaring optimization does really stand out. SomeBro in the frog room was actually able to get the very optimal roll boost across the water. Very slick strategy that saves a couple of milliseconds, but did have a little bit of a hard setup with the left side trick, and because of that, allnewluke is able to catch up, and these guys are within a second of each other all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's a very close together pylons spawnings there, and so showing really just how close it really is coming out of.
Yep, banners disappearing within a second of each other. SomeBro with a tiny advantage. But the pace could really change coming into this kingdom here, being Cascade with the first moon skip.
Right, and it'll be interesting to see what type of movement they go into first moon skip. And already allnewluke is doing a more effective one. So in the water, and does the wall jump. Both of them do wall jumps. So basically, just movement through the water in a particular way, so that you can get to a spot that you are just like kind of moving around the invisible wall that exists there.
Yeah, that is right. Kind of slipping underneath it, in fact. SomeBro did look like he kind of knocked himself into one of the rocks on the way by, and that was all it took for allnewluke to take the lead here. Killed all of his momentum, SomeBro did. So, going to be just a couple of seconds behind.
Yes, on the same phase of Madame Brutal, SomeBro taking a bit of an odd strategy of where setting up for the different hits. Kind of just letting Madame Brutal take a full turnaround, because why not? And both players are now done with Madame Brutal, and we'll be moving out of here. Again, the Odyssey, Fifth Moon, and now Sand King and the Helden.
Yes, indeed. Keeping it really tight. There's still some opportunity in Cascade for a time loss. These guys did skip the first moon, so they have to go up on top of the cliff to get above a high cliff and then down below the waterfall basin. If any of these guys execute the chest clip, they will be given a little bit of an advantage going into sand. Seeing some clean movement from both of these guys here. allnewluke, the first to arrive at the chest, setting up the clip, getting on top, doing the backflip just in time. The clip looks good. He is through. SomeBro following right behind, also getting the clip. Neither of them losing time to this trick, and on their way to Sand Kingdom. Now, just taking a look here, both of these guys are attempting Sphinx Clip in their runs. Looks like they're both attempting the... actually, SomeBro is attempting the single clip. allnewluke going all out, going for the double clip. Does have some relative success with it as well, so we might see allnewluke take a little bit more of a lead when it comes to Sphinx Clip if he's able to get both of those clips successfully. Both of them getting fast action guide there, it looks like, as well. But allnewluke taking a little bit of extra time, skipping the cutscene by the looks of it, losing just a second there.
Okay, moving into Sand Kingdom now. I'm going to see some Sphinx clips. It's very cool in my opinion, because it's been a while, for me at least, to see both players in a race.
Yeah, it's true. We do have a handful of 1.2 runners and also a couple of runners that just don't feel comfortable pulling off the trick, don't think it's worth the time save. So both of these runners can confirm that they do go for the Sphinx clip. So we will be seeing a side-by-side comparison here, perhaps of single versus double as well.
And Danger's Cat is back.
She's here. She's front and center. She does enjoy these GSA races. She heard Sphinx clip and got very excited, so she's front and center now. She's sitting on my lap, ready to go.
That is too adorable.
She's a good co-host, what can I say? So allnewluke, the first to approach this moon on top of the archway. Which means he's going to be setting up for the dram strat first. Getting on top of the wall handily. Getting the up throw. Hopefully able to time his throw perfectly there. SomeBro having a little bit of difficulty. Did take a little bit of a wall slide and unfortunately missed the dram strat there. So going to be losing a little bit more time as well.
And allnewluke opting to go for the box as well instead of going straight for the moon on top of the pillar way out there, which has been determined to be slightly faster at this point.
Yes, a little bit faster, but the way that Luke is doing it is potentially a little bit safer. The moon that you would grab instead is the Notes moon at the very end of Sand Kingdom. Some runners still have a little bit of trouble pulling that off, so Luke going for the more consistent method here. And he will be the first to approach the Sphinx room as well.
Lining up for a little cancel clip. Taking a few tries here. Unfortunately gets out of positioning on that third try, but finally gets through. And looks like you're going to be going for a single.
Opting for the single clip this time. Maybe just knows to cut his losses here. Doesn't want to have any spaghetti happen.
SomeBro also doing single clip though.
Yeah, also going for single clip. That is kind of typical of SomeBro. I think choosing the more safe strat. Cannot blame him really. allnewluke opting for the single clip maybe just to avoid any future fails. But SomeBro did make up some time here. Was able to get the clip on the first try versus allnewluke's relatively slow setup. So closing the gap. Do have to remind you guys though that SomeBro has one more extra moon to collect over allnewluke as well, so the gap is a little bit different, a little bit harder to tell. Or does he? Actually, they just collected the same moon and has the same count, so it looks like SomeBro might have also gotten the crate. I guess we'll see as we approach the Oasis here. Yeah, allnewluke has 2 more moons to get. SomeBro also 2 moons to get. You see the bird approaching the spot as allnewluke rolls up. This is a good reason for opting for the single clip when you are first starting out running this game. It does set you up for a nice bird cycle. If you choose the double clip method, you do have to be very fast on your second clip. And if you spend any more than a couple of tries on it, you will end up messing up the cycle and having to chase down the bird a little bit. No real optimal backup options available either, so double clip is definitely something that you go for only if you are entirely confident in your Sphinx clip abilities. And you know, not too many mistakes to really report on here as we come out of Sand Kingdom. These guys still on really good pace, leaving sand at about 1040 each. Still within 5 seconds of each other. The race is staying nice and close. Now, do you think we'll be seeing any late clip from these guys?
Personally doubt it. And that's not necessarily because of any sort of like... Actually, it's mostly just because of the amount of practice it takes to be confident enough with late clip, especially in a race scenario. And I feel with both these players that late clip just hasn't been enough on the radar for them to really consider it, even especially in a race.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Considering the amount of time that you can lose trying to set it up, if you're not 100% confident in it, it is definitely not worth trying to go for.
SomeBro getting a good little backup. Didn't quite get a high enough jump, so decided to use an up throw to make sure they can capture that zip.
Yep, and as predicted, both runners opting out of the late clip. Probably the smart play here. And if you don't go for late clip, then the lake route is rather consistent, just getting Rango at the end. It's hard to lose a whole lot of time here. Maybe only on your zipper capture or maybe on this fish jump coming up for All New Luke here. But aside from that, pretty safe kingdom. And as a result of that, Luke is going to be holding on to his lead as we go into Wooded Kingdom. Of course, they do have to fight Rango. Things can go wrong here, but it's not very typical.
And SomeBro actually taking a bit of a safer strategy with the Rango fight, not going inside of Rango during when he doesn't have a hitbox in between phases, simply staying on the outside of him and getting the timing down that way.
Yeah, no real disadvantage to that at all, just a personal preference thing. Now, something I've noticed about SomeBro, maybe this has to do with him not necessarily specializing in a game, is that he tends to go for some creative movement choices in the games that he does and some of the strategies that he does, not necessarily saving any time, usually, in fact, losing him some time, but does definitely earn some style points in my book.
Well, I was not fully familiar with that playstyle, so if you know of any moments where coming up, please point it out, because I want to be able to keep my eye out for it.
Yeah, usually they catch me by surprise as well, but just sometimes the way that SomeBro does things is like, oh, that's actually rather clever. Not the conventional way sometimes, but, you know, very creative way of kind of approaching the same problem. I know that he does kind of do that in Super Mario 64 races that I've watched of SomeBros as well, so when these creative differences come along, we will be sure to make note.
Luke starting out the Wooded Kingdom. Having some trouble finding the right stone, it seemed, and the bunny getting a bit away from him. So already at the beginning of Wooded Kingdom, it's kind of getting away from Luke, and SomeBro, meanwhile, is able to get the moon pickups and is going to be able to capture the bunny, and now they're pretty much back in sync.
Nearly perfect sync on the moon capture. SomeBro a little bit closer to the shop, so I think he's actually going to pull ahead. Did get the first person strat there to initiate the shop cutscene a little bit faster as well. And is all just like that, a second ahead of All New Luke.
And now going into the nut clip. So we'll see if either players are able to do this successfully. Hopefully we'll be seeing 2 successful nut clips today.
Yeah, going for the setup here. All New Luke's setup looks great. SomeBro's does not. He's going to have to go for the backup. Don't know if he is a rock clipper. Probably not, I would have to guess. So he's going to be going for the older route, which is an unfortunate situation for him. Going to be taking the older route and losing an immediate 20 seconds just like that.
Right, All New Luke not done with the nut clip route though too much. Still has to get up here, get this nut, and now we're pretty much out of the woods. Pun intended.
Yeah, technically not out of the woods, but certainly out of the tricky part of the woods, to be sure. Getting that out of bounds movement can be particularly scary, of course, because it hangs over the deep woods. Any fall within that section will send you into the deep woods, and you have to kind of traverse your way out. No real choice aside from that. Only Luke executing the poison hacks there. There is a strange little window of opportunity for runners to buffer a jump directly on the edge of the poison that prevents you from taking damage. We use that to our advantage to kind of keep our speed through that portion and get the kill on the Piranha Plant optimally without having to dive. And now that these runners are approaching the story moon together, we can kind of see the damage So SomeBro is going to be forced to do the fight with Spewert at the top of the tower. Meanwhile, allnewluke does not have to. He can opt for the Spewertless route if he chooses. But that 20 seconds coming into play here. It'd be interesting to see if allnewluke decides to go for the Spewertless route. It is kind of still like a high-level play, but is optimal by about 5 seconds.
SomeBro getting very good P-switches gem.
Yep, did execute the flower road skip. allnewluke did stumble a little bit on it, had to go for the backup. So basically anything that SomeBro can do to kind of close the gap, he's going to probably want to take it. Oof, and taking a bonk on the tower climb. Unfortunate little situation there, probably only losing a couple of seconds though. Still hot on Luke's tail. Luke actually going into the Spewert fight as well, so not taking advantage of the potential optimization. Don't blame him, it can be kind of tricky to jump off the tower optimally.
And SomeBro having a bit of trouble not getting up high enough to get this moon up here. And luckily, I wasn't sure exactly where that enemy went afterwards, because it kind of just it seemed to it might have actually ended up disappearing after a while, but it was still there luckily. So able to use it because there's no real way to get that moon otherwise.
Thankfully, not making any mistakes there. I mean, aside from missing the moon itself, but backing it up okay. And just like that, Spewert is done for both runners. allnewluke pulling ahead substantially here, probably about a 20-second lead as we go into the next kingdom.
And now going into Cloud Kingdom, hoping that both players are able to get the fast strategies against Bowser.
Should be interesting to see. You don't really see very many mistakes happen in this kingdom, but, you know, in a race setting, anything is possible. Anything can happen. Luke going to be the first to approach Bowser here. First phase, essentially rolling towards Bowser as fast as he possibly can. Grabbing the hat just in time as he throws it. See Luke going for these manipulations here, making Bowser fly to a platform further away from Mario so that he doesn't have to jump as far. Each one of those saving about 0.5 seconds. SomeBro still right on his tail. Looked like he was trying to go for the cloud boost strategy there. Probably going to regret that decision though, as he takes a fall. Gonna have to go about this the safer way.
Yeah, and missed the opportunity because allnewluke actually ended up missing the fastest strat on the third phase and had to do a slightly slower way when the hat got thrown, capturing the hat after it had already been thrown out a little bit.
Interestingly enough, SomeBro also going for the slower strategy, the more casual strategy here for the first phase of the fight. Just opting to grab the hat as if normal. So allnewluke's decision to not do the fast phase on the last one, potentially not going to lose him that much time as he approaches Lost Kingdom now. Of course, big missteps can happen in Lost Kingdom that lose a lot of time. SomeBro having a lot of difficulty in this Cloud Kingdom, in fact. Taking another hit from Bowser, he's going to have to make sure that he heals if he wants to take advantage of the damage boost strategy for the last hit. He is going to get that last hat and finish off Bowser in Cloud Kingdom. No deaths, thankfully. And All New Luke taking a dive off of the propeller pillar onto a platform that is going to spawn Klepto and take Cappy. This is the kind of moment that SomeBro needs to catch up here. All New Luke going to have to take a detour to get Cappy back. This is about a 45-second penalty, essentially. Unfortunate situation, and this is the kind of time loss that we're talking about here in Lost Kingdom. Easy to kind of fall into a situation where a lot of time just crumbles away. Also having some trouble with Klepto here, activating this rising stair platform. A little bit anxious, I think, as he approaches it.
Also, just a fight we're not used to doing, considering you skip this entirely in scenarios where everything goes correctly.
Yeah, in your day-to-day personal best runs, you don't really anticipate this. If Klepto were to be triggered, you would just immediately reset. You don't really practice Klepto very much because you're not expecting to get into that situation, but proving that it still does happen, and just like that, SomeBro closing the gap a little bit here. All New Luke having a lot of difficulty in Lost Kingdom, unfortunately. Not able to get the Trapedal to blow up that optimal rock. Gonna have to back it up a little bit. SomeBro getting batted around by some Wigglers, but not activating Klepto. So gonna be saving a lot of time here.
And getting the moon inside the stone cage into the underneath the bridge for All New Luke. Still ahead right now. And so, despite the Klepto difference, you can see that how much time Luke had as a lead, that a full Klepto was not enough for SomeBro to fully catch up.
Yeah, and that does lose about 45 seconds to have to activate Klepto, so he actually had a pretty substantial lead, maybe about a minute coming out of Cloud Kingdom, but that gap has narrowly tightened now. All New Luke did not get the dive out from underneath the bridge. He did have to take a death warp. We'll see if SomeBro does the same. Yes, indeed. So not the most optimal strategy, but he is going to be warped back directly to the Odyssey. Not a big deal. He has collected all the moons he needs. And as All New Luke initiates the cutscene to move on to Metro Kingdom, SomeBro is globing. So about 20 seconds separates these guys from about a minute when we first entered Lost Kingdom. It's suddenly very close. All New Luke making his way up the buildings here. Doing some optimal jumps. Didn't get the triple jump that he was looking for. Probably backed that up with a backflip of some sort. Grabbing the girder sandwich. But all of these little kind of mistakes are what is going to allow SomeBro to do some catching up here.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of safety going on from All New Luke. A lot of places opting to get on top of the building here before doing the long jump across. Just kind of what SomeBro just did, in some ways, waiting a bit to get on top of the building.
Indeed, and now SomeBro kind of displaying some of that creativity that I was talking about. It's kind of known that when you get on top of the building there, you do a long jump, but he actually made a really conscious effort to space himself very far away from his initial starting point there and able to get to that girder sandwich moon with just a single jump. In fact, that might be something that top runners could look into in making that particular section more optimal. Long jumps in this game, not typically the best choice for movement. You do start out a long jump really slow, so in any situation where a long jump can be eliminated, it's usually for the best. SomeBro almost got sniped out of the air by that fly, but was able to avoid it, thankfully. Now approaching the Mecha Wiggler fight that Luke is already in, taking care of that first phase handily. Now onto the second, where RNG cannot be your friend sometimes. Hopefully Luke able to avoid any further problems.
SomeBro's Wiggler taking a little bit to realize that it was fully damaged and was totally possible to get out of the first phase.
Bit of an interesting situation there. This game does some weird things in this particular fight. Luke having a little bit of an erratic pattern there, a couple of errant sections of the Wiggler left remaining, but he did snipe them just fine, keeping his lead over SomeBro through this Night Metro portion. SomeBro also having a very nice second Wiggler cycle, maybe even more optimal than allnewluke had. Going to be making up a little bit of time here. Every little second is going to count, especially as we approach Day Metro, where this is a kingdom that not a whole lot of very scary tricks exist, but by nailing down all of the tiny little strategies available, you can really save some time kind of in the long run. So if allnewluke were to unoptimally do Metro and SomeBro was able to nail down all of the tiny little strats, he could be making up quite a bit of time here. allnewluke approaching the scooter.
Making sure to line it up just right. And still fails it despite using quite a bit of setup. It's going to opt to use the RC car.
Yeah, bailing on the scooter clip idea, knowing that maybe it is lost. I know that I can get triggered if I miss the initial scoot clip. It actually can be very hard to back up as a result. So I don't blame allnewluke for resorting to the backup. See what SomeBro does here. Rolling directly to the scooter, jumping over top of it, unfortunately. Going to be lining himself up for a drive-by, but misses it as well. Going for the backup, though, and does get it, so probably saving on the backup.
And allnewluke's movement to this trash bin that SomeBro just got was not the most optimal, so the gap was also... Yeah, the gap has definitely decreased even further due to that.
Yep, SomeBro's movement just a little bit crisper than allnewluke's coming into Day Metro. Perfect little moon sync going on there. We are one moon away. allnewluke opting for the older Metro route, warping directly to the top of City Hall instead of rolling to Pauline. A safe strat by allnewluke. Does lose about 2 seconds when done optimally. But SomeBro also following suit, so not losing any time in this race. Both performing the City Hall climb. allnewluke had a little bit of a better go at it. SomeBro, a little bit of spaghetti, taking a bonk on the early part, not a big deal. Did look like he was trying to set up some sort of spin pound on the top, but not getting away with very nicely there. Also going to be missing the moon on the way down. Unfortunate situation for SomeBro. And allnewluke in the people's room getting batted around. Missed the timer cycle potentially. Okay, he's going to get it just in time.
SomeBro just having trouble with navigation now, as they... I'm guessing we're just kind of completely thrown off by not collecting the moon in the pool, above the pool, so it just results in them not fully being aware of their surroundings and how to get to the next moon from.
Yeah, he had the camera turned all the way around, probably just a little bit lost as a result. So even though SomeBro was able to make some time up in the early part of Day Metro, it does look like he is kind of throwing it away a little bit here. They're both going to be exiting the crowd room before gathering some musicians. Again, this is not the most optimal way to go about Metro Kingdom, but it is probably the safer way. SomeBro giving Pauline a little bit of a bump. But that being said, we are still very close, within one musician of each other here. And as we enter Snow Kingdom, just about anything can really happen. SomeBro has been shown to do Snowdram in previous runs. I believe allnewluke also going for the trick. And yeah, looking at some statistics here, it does look like allnewluke does have the better track record with Snowdram, getting it 100% of the time. SomeBro taking a little bit of extra time to set himself up. So allnewluke, you know, could come out of Snow Kingdom with an even bigger lead if SomeBro messes up the Snowdram, but it is still anybody's race.
Absolutely, and it's entirely possible that a runner decides to not do Snowdram at all, as we are seeing safer strategies going on currently in these rounds.
Certainly, a lot of runners opting to go for the older kind of Wrangle Room route where you go around the snowy mountain. Not a bad idea. Does lose 8 seconds optimally, but of course is the safe way of going about Snow Kingdom.
Yeah, it's better than potentially losing about 5 to 10 seconds if you fail Snowdram.
Yeah, each fail would be 20 seconds of time lost for falling and warping back, so you can certainly see why a runner might opt to go for the safer way. Now, if you guys are feeling lucky, Vi.gg is your answer. You can place bets on these runners at any point during these tournaments, including the Super Mario 64 and Super Metroid tournaments. If you've got some favorites, if you are rooting for a winner, bet at Vi.gg by typing !bet in the chat or by going to their website, clicking the banner underneath the stream. Of course, you must be of legal gambling age to participate. But with that being said, you know, I think that we are approaching kind of the point of the tournament where things are going to get really tight, you know, and some of these bets could really take off and potentially, you know, considering it's like a PvP situation, you can really kind of go head-to-head against a friend and maybe win some money that way.
I was even turning into some Super Metroid runs earlier this week, and those runs can be very quick, very close together too, within a minute of each other, within like 10 seconds of each other in a lot of cases, especially this.
Yeah, being an older game, you tend to see quite a fine-tuned level of optimization and a lot of runners that have really tuned into their craft. Super Mario Odyssey, I feel like, is doing a very good job of reaching that point itself, even though it is such a young game, but I think there is still a lot of growth potential for Super Mario Odyssey.
I got very scared with allnewluke as he missed the triple jump in this Typhoon Room. Got some recovery, just barely landed on some dry land, so that they could set up to just do a ground pound jump up to that moon instead of the triple jump.
Yep, has to be feeling thankful
missing
here.
It, but finds a backup triple jump, but still bonks into the wall a little bit short.
I think just not getting quite the momentum he wanted there. Very interesting backup, though. I never thought that you could actually continue your triple jump even after you had failed the initial one, so very interesting backup there. Not blowing all of the Spinies off the platform here. Going to get bullied a little bit, but does make it through just fine. Now, something to note here is both of these runners did skip the shop on their pass by, so we will be seeing a Snowdram from both of them.
And those Goombas are not quite on that button, Luke. You need to get back on.
Yep, I've had some unfortunate situations of my own in the past. I think they're even visibly standing on top of the platform, but sometimes it just doesn't activate the switch, which can be very, very frustrating. All right, allnewluke grabbing that story moon. SomeBro grabbing the other moon in this room. Activating his triple jump here. Looks clean. Gonna be clearing the gap. Right behind allnewluke still. And as we approach Snowdram, we are within enough time, I think, that if All New Luke were to fail Snowdram once, this race would be essentially tied.
Certainly seems like a plausible theory.
All New Luke, the first to approach Snowdram now. Going to be doing a quick setup to get on top of the roof. Setting up with the camera. Ground pound into a vault. Really have to space out your movements here, and nails the Snowdram on the first try. Going to be holding on to that lead. Now it's up to SomeBro to nail the trick on the first try as well, or else he is going to fall potentially further behind.
Yeah, very well executed from All New Luke, able to get the vectoring and the proper amount of spacing needed. Looking pretty good. May have waited a bit too long, but I am completely wrong. I don't know this jump at all. And
Yeah, the
SomeBro is just
spacing
fine.
is incredibly tight. Usually it does require you to delay all of your inputs as much as you can to gain the maximum height from everything. SomeBro did nail the trick on the first try. Not going to be losing any time on Luke, but still does trail probably by about 20 seconds here. And into Seaside. Now, Seaside is a little bit of a relaxing kingdom, true to its nature. That being said, any percent runners have always been looking for a way to optimize it asides. So we do have things like the Rocket Flower refresh we might see from both of these runners. Interesting setup there from SomeBro. Not using the camera to his advantage there, just kind of doing it blind, but does make it up the cliff just fine. All New Luke getting bullied by Seaside a little bit, taking some unoptimal bonks in places, not opting for the single jump strategy into this cave here. All these things, you know, if SomeBro does attempt and succeed at these, he's going to be closing the gap pretty quickly here.
SomeBro playing it very risky, nearly didn't get up there, as was doing some jumps that seemed like they wouldn't get you up there at all. And takes a little, does the cappy dive a bit too high. There's a wall there, sir. And All New Luke not doing a Rocket Flower refresh.
Yeah, opting instead for the Gushin. Again, following suit with playing it safe.
Meanwhile, SomeBro is going for it.
Yeah, the setup looks good. Getting the ground pound, capturing the moon. So he will be refreshing his Rocket Flower. The only thing that can really go wrong with this strategy here is potentially getting waved. But he's going to jump at the end just to be sure that that doesn't happen. Smart play by SomeBro. Good Rocket Flower skills coming from him. Kitten agrees with that one. Very solid work.
I still don't know your kitten's name.
Her name is Tails, but I don't think I ever call her that.
Just Kitten.
Just Kitten. She's 2 years old, but she's still kitten-sized, so hard to drop. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know?
Right. She agrees.
Yeah. She likes the name. Now, both of these guys just picking up some of the last moons in Seaside Kingdom. We're only about 1 moon apart from each other. This race is exceptionally close. I think that SomeBro did have a little bit of a more optimal Seaside. Of course, as I say that, does take a little bit of damage from the sea bacon here. Going to have to refill his health, but still within probably 20 seconds of each other. Luncheon, however, is where things can really turn around. Now, another one of those kingdoms where I wouldn't say that there's a lot of very complex tricks, with the exception of maybe the fork room doing it optimally, but definitely a place where time can kind of hemorrhage itself. Not doing everything optimally loses 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 second here, 1 second there, 2 seconds there. And this all really does add up over time. It can be hard for a beginning runner especially to notice exactly what they're doing wrong until they very visibly compare themselves to a top runner. allnewluke getting the salt pile triple there. Very handily done. SomeBro, kind of a weird approach to the salt pile triple. Has to space out his jumps a little bit, but is going to be able to get up the wall just fine. And now allnewluke actually taking damage to Spirit as well. So unless he picks up a heart in this fight somewhere, he is going to have to suffer a damage refill. SomeBro having a little bit of difficulty getting up into the arena in the first place. Attempting some quick strats for the first hit, not being able to pull them off successfully though. And allnewluke showing some spaghetti there as he grabs that power moon. Probably not the most optimal way of doing that. I didn't see, did he go for a heart before grabbing the moon? Was that why that was that?
He just kind of, he went for a buffered spin pound and kind of missed it.
Ah, gotcha. So he is going to have to suffer the damage refill. All of these little things, like I said, this is the kingdom where this kind of stuff adds up over time. It is a long kingdom, somewhere in the realm of 6.5 minutes at the top level. So as each little mistake kind of adds up, it's really going to allow SomeBro to catch up if he is able to play cleanly. Doesn't even really need to play optimally necessarily, but cleanly is the key here. Yep, SomeBro making some safer plays, but still saving time over allnewluke, who is currently bonking his way through the kingdom. Of course, now that I've said that, SomeBro is going to be messing up a little bit on this climb up to overlooking the ingredients. allnewluke, a little bit of head still, pulling the golden turnip and throwing it into the soup. Now, because these runners are on 1.0, they do have the ability to do the turnip clip. I'm looking back here, and it does look like SomeBro does attempt this trick, but allnewluke does not. So, that being said, if allnewluke does change his mind, hopefully he has been practicing in order to not lose time. But if he hasn't, if he doesn't go for the trick, this could be SomeBro's opportunity to catch up even more.
SomeBro not doing his bonk a little bit late, resulting, or rather early, resulting in him being a bit too low and not capturing the moon at all when it was in the range to be captured by a bubble.
Unfortunate situation, so just had to set that up again, jump, and get the moon. allnewluke, very clean forks room from allnewluke there. Just has to jump around the corner and get this power moon here as SomeBro enters the room and allnewluke is on the way out. A little bit of spaghetti on SomeBro's part, able to back it up just fine. allnewluke getting the lava bubble manipulation jumps there. And he is hopping on the side of the turnips. It'll be interesting to see if this is the way that he goes. He is setting up for the clip. He does have the turnip at his side. Again, this is the first time he's attempting this in a GSA race. So hopefully he has been practicing this a little bit. Going to be taking a little bit of time to set up the turnip in a particularly optimal position.
Yeah, being very careful, not throwing it in, just simply placing it.
Yes, that's right. No kind of Kobe strats, you could say.
SomeBro being the man of the people, getting the golden turnip for the turnip clip.
Yep, this does save 20 minutes. And he is going to be going for the Kobe throw. That throw looks perfect.
That's, I thought it bounced off a bit too far.
We will see here. Oh, he is going to reset it up just to be safe. You might be right. It might have been just a little bit too far, unfortunately. So did just readjust.
And now it's kind of a bit too. And now it's kind of awkward being a bit too far to the left. It was still able to occur, but because it was just so far to the left, it was kind of an awkward way of getting that clip the second time.
Yeah, this trick is surprisingly lenient, but at the same time, so bizarre. It's very much unlike anything else that you do in this game. It doesn't really revolve around movement or anything like that. It's not like a roll cancel clip where you're pressing buttons at a particular time. It's all about just like, I don't know, messing with the game's physics in a way. And that's what makes it such a weird trick.
It's all about putting your turnips in the right spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a metaphor for life, I think.
Sure.
It's all about putting your turnips in the right place. I think my dad said that once.
Where do you live?
Canada. We grow turnips here, I think.
Do you?
Yeah, it's a root vegetable. I mean, we are known for chilly seasons. We like our potatoes and our root vegetables.
Okay, makes sense. Checks out.
Yeah, seems legit. Seems like something my father might say.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know your father.
Yeah, he's been known to say some weird things, that's for sure. All right, both perfectly synced fade out going on there. Of course, SomeBro is a little bit behind. Did look like he lost a little bit of ground in Luncheon Kingdom as a whole. Losing a little bit of ground, probably within about 30 seconds of All New Luke now. So it's going to come down to these later kingdoms to really decide what is going to happen here. SomeBro has to play really clean. All New Luke probably has to make a couple of big mistakes in order for the gap to close now. And as we enter Ruined Kingdom, you know, anything can happen here.
It's a dragon. It's purple. It's a purple dragon. And we go through it like a slideshow. In this slide, I'm gonna hit the dragon in the head. I'm gonna get rid of some rings, and then his head will be vulnerable. What do you think, Dangers? Makes sense. Okay. This is about these players on the Lord of Lightning. Gonna be getting through the first hit. All New Luke just finishing out the second hit.
Yeah, we're within a couple phases of each other here. Really is still anybody's race. All New Luke finishing up the last phase. SomeBro getting the second hit there. Just has one more phase to get through before moving on to Bowser's Kingdom as well. And now Bowser's Kingdom, another one of those kingdoms that's not really, you know, you don't see huge mistakes happen, but they can still happen if you fall off. You obviously lose a lot of time getting all the way down to the death zone and then going back to a checkpoint that you had probably only collected near the beginning or something like that. So mistakes don't happen very often, but they are extremely costly in Bowser's. And as a beginner runner, I would say that Bowser's is probably not the hardest kingdom, but at the top level, there are some very, very precise tricks being added in that can make this kingdom extremely hard to run. We'll see if some dive back strategies happen from any of these runners, if some Bowser Dram strategies happen from any of these runners, and of course, maybe some Harriet third as well. And all new Luke, the first one to approach Bowser's, still with a little bit of a coming in here. I particularly enjoy Bowser's Kingdom because it does give you a little bit of a break between these complex platforming sections. So Luke the first approached this wall into a spin pound and then some very precise jumps to get up the wall, taking a bonk on this wall, just losing a couple of seconds, but still able to pull out the movement okay.
Going over to the ogre.
A little bit of spaghetti movement there.
Yeah, had the spin pound ready, but wasn't quite in the position to be able to ground pound to do the actual spin pound on the top of the ogre.
Yeah, the strategies he was using there were the optimal ones, just not able to execute properly. So if SomeBro is able to kind of play a little bit cleaner and a little bit safer and pull off his strategies, he will be closing the gap here. Also doing the spin pound a little bit cleaner than, but did show off a little bit of ballerina strategies just to make sure the line is good.
Luke's taking a bit of a dangerous approach to the shards room, actually going down to where those spinies were and landing there.
Yeah, the dive back, in my opinion, is actually considered considerably safer because you don't have to deal with any spiny RNG. The timing of your cap throw and your dive back does have to be right on point, or else you do put yourself at risk potentially running into the spinies, or taking a bonk rather on the wall and then getting bullied by the spinies below. So it is a little bit of a trickier situation, but you do see both of these runners going down onto the lower platform just to make sure that they get the shard. And also coming into play again, some of this creative movement that I'm talking about from SomeBro, getting that fourth shard out of order and looking to grab this shard out of order as well. Probably not the optimal way to do it, but the way that SomeBro has kind of developed in his own way.
Players are very close together, within a couple moons of each other. Bowser's Kingdom is very considerable, especially during the moon shard section, where you're getting two moons very close together.
Yeah, and things can definitely go wrong in the shard section. Very easy to take some costly bonks and potentially even fall to your death. So, very pro tip to grab the checkpoint at the beginning of the shard section. Doesn't lose you any time to do that, and probably a good idea if you think that you might have some problems with it. All new Luke, the first to approach the brutal fights here. Going for Harriet first. Respectable. Respectable. Taking some damage, however. Not something you usually see in the Harriet fight. Usually the topper fight is the one that gives a lot of runners most problems. But thankfully there is a nearby checkpoint, so we see all new Luke try and grab that checkpoint on the way back to the topper fight, or potentially not, just going directly to topper. That is going to cost him some time though, having to do a damage fill, not to mention the damage itself probably costing him a little bit of time. All of these things, again, going to add up in SomeBro's comeback.
Having a bit of trouble with Harriet, did not get the bomb to deflect back to Harriet the first time around, so I had to wait for the second throw.
Not a terrible thing to happen, really. Didn't take damage in the Harriet fight, so going to be saving a little bit of time on Luke as long as the topper fight goes clean. Of course, Commentator's Curse coming in loud and strong there. Taking a little bit of damage to topper means that he's going to have to suffer his own damage refill as well. Now, neither of these guys did the Pokyo-Dram strategy at the very beginning of the kingdom, meaning that they will have to go around the back to collect this moon behind the crates. All new Luke the first to take this jump around, taking it a little bit safe, using the platform. Oh, but having a little bit of trouble breaking open these crates, but does make it into the room okay. SomeBro opting to grab the checkpoint flag right away before grabbing the moon. Probably not optimal. I think after the second fight has happened, it's not really worth going out of the way. Now we'll see if SomeBro is able to make this a quicker behind the boxes there. Does come out rather clean. And again, all these little things is going to start adding up. We're only one wall climb away from each other here as Luke approaches the Robo-Brood fight. And of course, as long as he plays it safe, he will maintain his lead. But as I say that, bonking on the knee of the Robo-Brood, having to reset his pattern here. Also falling again on the second try. SomeBro,
yeah, fast approaching that boss fight.
Right behind. Luke having a lot of difficulty getting up side of the leg here. SomeBro right here, rolling up to the pylon, capturing it here. allnewluke finally figures out how to do this climb. Didn't get the first ground pound here, but SomeBro right on his tail. This race has all of a sudden come down to a matter of maybe 10 seconds. Very, very close all of a sudden. SomeBro getting a much cleaner climb, so very tight race indeed. Hopefully SomeBro is able to get that quick second hit to stay within pace of Luke now. And he does. allnewluke setting up for Harry third as well. This is a risky strategy. If he hasn't practiced it, things could go wrong here, but he is going to get the spin pound. Does get the target acquired on his way now to the next kingdom here, Moon Kingdom. Going to be retaining his lead through. SomeBro opting for the safer strategy here, getting Harriet fourth, making it look clean. Going to be losing about a second to allnewluke's riskier strategy, but still right on his tail. It's literally going to come down to this Moon Kingdom. And again, not a very difficult kingdom to achieve. Nothing extremely technical, but very punishing if you make mistakes. You know, respectable pace for both of these guys. SomeBro's PB a 104.20, meaning that he is off of PB pace as of this point, but still on pace for a pretty solid finish, somewhere in the ballpark of a high 105, maybe a low 106 for both of these runners, in fact. Literally 15 seconds apart as we enter the Moon Kingdom. That, honestly, is going to be just one Bowser phase, essentially. If you miss the hat throw on one of the Bowser phases, this race could change hands just like that.
Right, and I feel like the most likely thing to occur, actually, and it'll definitely be a more interesting thing to see, will be if we come down to Fast Pillars Room.
Yes, especially if that is the case. Like if allnewluke were to miss one phase of the Bowser fight, and it was basically tied after that, then it would come down to Pillars Room. It would come down to the very, very finish.
Luke
Another
only getting
creative
one
strategy.
Rocket Flower.
Yep, that's going to lose some time there. SomeBro kind of opting for another creative strategy, as I mentioned here. Rolling directly to the edge of that very first platform and then doing some triple jump vectors after already making it to safety. Kind of something that you don't really see every day. Probably not the most optimal, but again, SomeBro's creative way of going about doing it. Did get both of the Rocket Flowers, so going to be making a little bit of time on allnewluke here. Both executing the Moon Cave skip very nicely. And it looks like we're still about 15 seconds of separation here. It really is going to come down to this final portion with Bowser. allnewluke's first phase, nice and clean. SomeBro getting the hat and the dive up to Bowser. Very, very smooth there. The second phase is the hardest one, though, arguably. allnewluke setting up for it now. Has to have an optimal distance between the hats. Does manage to grab the hat just fine. And now SomeBro setting up as well, grabbing the hat just fine. Oh, Bowser's face, going to have to chase him down.
That is not good.
Yep, probably about a 10-second loss there just as a result of that. So as long as Luke is able to hold on, not make any mistakes in this Bowser fight, he will be running away with it. Of course, the escape sequence does wait for us, so there is some potential for the tide to change. You know, all it takes is one misstep in the escape sequence to change the fate of this race. SomeBro getting the final hat just fine. He's going to be finishing up the last hit on Bowser here. allnewluke flying through the escape here. Breaking open the first wall and into the open portion. SomeBro right behind. Now Luke, of course, approaching the very scary 2D section. See if he goes for the 2D skip.
Sets up the blocks correctly for it.
He's going to give it a go.
Oh! Okay,
But
luckily able to survive messing it up. Catching himself on the lower platforms. Still,
potentially the nerves getting to him here. Looks like he is kind of spaghettiing up this escape sequence in the 2D section, but again, didn't fall. Luckily holding on to a lead here. SomeBro gonna have to follow suit. Does a much cleaner version of the 2D skip. Still right behind him, a little bit of spaghetti breaking open the blocks here, but gonna be right on Luke's tail. You know, as long as Luke is able to pull out this pillar room clean, it will be his victory, but SomeBro right behind. Couldn't really see if Luke was able to get that first pillar. Didn't look like it.
That's an interesting strategy of, after getting the second pillar, throwing another fireball towards the first pillar. Although I don't think that did it either.
SomeBro is going to get that first pillar. Just a little bit of spaghetti movement, getting to that second pillar. But allnewluke finishing off the first pillar there. Finally on the final platform. SomeBro right behind. A little bit too little, too late for SomeBro, though. Very, very close race indeed, as allnewluke shoots out of the pylon here. Probably looking at a 107.02, or sorry, 106, sorry, 12 is what I meant to say. Those are some weird numbers that are coming out of my mouth. But SomeBro right behind. This race within 15 seconds towards the end. What an incredible race.
And we're going to move right into an interview as we finish this out, as allnewluke is in here to talk to us. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. That mech, I got kleptoed. Oof.
Big oof indeed. A couple very costly mistakes, but luckily SomeBro also coming up with a couple of mistakes of his own. So it really came down to the perseverance, I think, at the end of this race, and you know, allnewluke pulling out the win by 12 seconds here. So
I got a 8-second luncheon gold.
yeah, your luncheon was very clean. I do recall. So how do you feel about this race? How do you feel it went? Aside from the glaring mistakes.
Aside from those, I still think it went pretty bad since I lost time in almost every kingdom. The start was really good. I got a 223 cap and I also golded Cascade.
Right. That being with the first moon skip, I suppose you have just recently switched to 1.0, is that right?
Yeah, like a month ago, so
Right.
pretty recent.
Still kind of new territory for you, I suppose, then.
And
But, yeah.
with that, Luke, you're going to be facing the winner between Little Aggie and Philly Fan, which is a match that's happening in about an hour and a half.
Actually, less. I believe it's happening directly after this. So,
I know my
Wow,
math.
that's hype.
so yeah, very hype. I mean, if you stick around, you will get to see who your next opponent is. Unfortunately, this being the losers bracket, SomeBro is knocked out of the tournament, so he will not be moving on. Very solid showing from him anyways. allnewluke, congratulations on your victory, and good luck in your next match.
Thank you.
And as mentioned, we do have upcoming Philly Fan versus Little Aggie in this Any Percent tournament. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned, and we will have some more Super Mario Odyssey action coming your way. Thank you for commentating with me, Troy.
Yeah, no problem.
And we will see you in a short while after an intermission.